I just got one thing to say. Who picked that song? Well, the meaning behind it, "We are all one world," is what I was hoping to convey. I was told you were a singing congregation, but sometimes we need to have a little bit more knowledge of the songs we're about to sing. So moving right along, you have to be able to laugh at yourself sometimes. It's not the first time that I've made a mistake in the service. If you've been to my pagan rituals, you've seen many mistakes. We don't want to go there. But it all comes back to the reasons that we're here. We're here to be together on a Sunday morning and to come together as a community. Yeah, I love words. And the UU, isn't it full of words? I mean, words like equity, compassion, social justice, beloved community. There's another word that I always associate with being a UU, and that's the word beginning. Because beginning starts with the word be. And here we be. We be here in this sacred moment of time, in this very sacred community. Every day is a chance for a new beginning when we take our first breath. Every time we express ourselves, we be. And every time a thought enters our mind, it's a chance to be thankful for a new lesson learned. Isn't so much of it about time? I mean, we worry about being somewhere on time. We worry about finishing something on time. Why is time so hard to hold on to? We can't outrun time. We are all witness to others who want to hide time from us by not teaching critical race theory. Time eventually catches up to us. And we have to choose how we're going to respond. And I'd like to talk about another kind of time, a time of a story, and each one of you is a sentence in that story. And that story is called The Life of this Church. And to me, that is the greatest story ever told. That is a record of time for the people who come here after us. And we know there will be many more people who come out here after us, because there will always be people who seek community. This church is your community. So what will your sentence say? When I came here a couple of weeks ago to talk to Pat about the kind of service I would be leading, I got here early. So I started walking around the grounds a little bit, and I found your memorial garden in the back. Have any of you been back there? It's so breathtaking. There's like so much history back there. And as I walked among the stones, I looked for a few stones with names that I might know, because I have been here before. It's been several years, but I don't remember it ever being that big. Wow. That's a lot of stories in the life of the church. And isn't a lot of it about the stories? The stories that we build and write together? The stories become our history. A shared history. And it doesn't matter whether the history is a history of challenges or victories. It's how we went through all those changes together. And we share that history together. And in preparing for today, I asked Jamie to share some of the history of the cups with me, since it goes back much further than I was even aware of. Paganism has been an official part of the UU sacred sources since 1995. But yet pagans have met in this church since 3 years before that. Maybe the church leaders from 1992 saw some value in two communities coming together in sacred covenant. The first church Sunday service by the pagan group was held in 1994. And here we are together, 28 years later. Can you believe that? That's a long time. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke to us as being connected by a common thread that ties us all together in a single garment of an inescapable network of mutuality and destiny. What is that common thread? What does that common thread look like to you? What if that thread that ties us all together is our shared history together? A history of feeling challenged and having a need that is both internal and uniquely individual to each one of us. What if that internal need is the desire to see justice in the world and to connect with a like-minded community? What if that common thread, it's not about why we first came to the UU, it's why we choose to stay. Any fans of existentialism out there? I don't see any hands, I guess not. Fyodor Dostoevsky said, "It's the great mystery of human existence that lies in not just staying alive, but finding something to live for." Think about that. Could that be another common thread that ties us together? So many of us UUs are driven by the need to see justice, equity, and peace in the local and worldwide community. These common words of our 6 principles speak to a common desire that traverses all the differences of creed, race, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender expression. When one community is affected by injustice, all communities are infected. Because we're all interconnected, not only by our shared history and our shared needs, but by that World Wide Web. And one strand of that web is plucked. That strand may hurt a little bit more than every other strand, but all strands are affected. Have any of you ever attended one of the cup rituals here? Fantastic. I will be leading the next one. It's next Saturday. I invite every single one of you to come check it out. It is going to be very UU-friendly as well as being very pagan. It will be a Druid ritual, which is the fellowship that ordained me. And I want to share what I believe and what I practice. And perhaps you will find a common thread with me. You see, I believe all life is sacred. All life. From the tiniest honeybee to the tallest oak tree, all life. And I believe in a life of mutual respect and gratitude. And I believe in gratitude towards the earth and all the people that came here before us. And I believe in that all knowledge and all personal religious experience is sacred. Does any of that sound familiar to any of you? Let's take another look at our shared history. By 1888, Universalism had become the 6th largest denomination in the United States. It spread quickly, not by speaking to the upper class that Unitarianism spoke to, but it spoke to the lower classes, the middle class, the working class. And it convinced people to challenge the way that the Bible was interpreted. You see, at the time, Unitarians and Universalists were the only ones who didn't really believe that God was a wrathful God. And one of the fathers of Universalism said, his name was Jose Balu, if we agree in love, that no disagreement can do us any harm. And if we do not agree in love, no other agreement can do us any good. That sounds like a pretty good foundation for a covenant, doesn't it? It's a pretty good foundation for building right relationships, too. As a pagan, long ago I learned love is the strongest power in the universe. When I pray with love in my heart. When I lead a pagan ritual, I lead with love in my heart. And standing before you today, I speak to you with love in my heart. Because I believe that only through love are the greatest changes I've ever achieved. In 1961, when the Universalist and Unitarian churches came together, there was a sort of special marriage. The merger was referred to as a bit of a commencement, bit of a new beginning, a kind of marriage, and that's kind of what we did when the UU adopted the other sacred sources. It wasn't that we merged them all together. It was more of a marriage, allowing them to all work together. And then the day of that very first service that was considered a UU service, hundreds of ministers stood up before people and chanted round after round of this processional hymn. As the tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow as one to seek the sea, our kindred fellowships unite to build a church that shall be free. That's why they don't pay me to sing. But what does free look like? Free to question, free to search, free to believe without being criticized. The word free is synonymous with liberty. Imagine a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. It seems like we keep coming back to that sixth principle, but don't we all just want to feel a little peace in our lives? And the need to feel free. Well, perhaps that's another common thread that we all share. When I entered that tiny little UU in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, and I saw the tapestry of principles which hung on the wall, the one word that spoke to me was acceptance. I stood there reading them I lost a sense of time. You see, I've been a priest barely a year, and I hadn't found my niche yet. I desperately wanted to find a way that I could serve the greater community. And it was a pain in my heart. I needed to belong somewhere. That was 2011. Now I know where I belong. I became involved in the pagan community at large back in the 90s. And I have lost count of how many pagans I've met who just want to belong somewhere, to feel welcome and accepted. They didn't fit in with the regular church, but they were very spiritual. People felt judged unfairly, unaccepted, and unwelcome. Quite the opposite of what a welcoming... there goes mine, you had yours. Quite the opposite of what a welcoming congregation promises. And as I stood there, looking at that second principle, that word acceptance, like speaking back to me, and I was like, this is it. I felt the pain in my heart starting to lift. This is where I belong. This is what I believe. And this is what I want to tell the universe. Now, I am honored to be here, telling you. You know, one of the things I used to tell my new member classes, the principles are not an end-all, be-all. They are our goals. They are our ethics that we aim and we strive to live for. Is everyone automatically accepted? No. Is there already justice in the world? Definitely not. But are we striving towards that? Principles should be like guideposts. They should give us the inspiration to be better to do better, to be kind. Now, when it comes to paganism, there's always going to be some words that people trip over. And I realize that may not be comfortable for everyone. Pagans will say they believe in magic. And if you go to a Christian church, you will hear the exact same reference to miracles. The miracles, the magic, they're the same thing. It's just different words. Pagans may say they believe in a perfect trust. Well, what is a perfect trust? It's a covenant. And pagans may say they believe in a goddess. And we know what many UUs might say. They'll say they believe in the everlasting and empowering spirit of life and reason which inspires us to do great and kind things. Sounds like a goddess to me. But there's one bit of language that both UUs and pagans use that needs no translation. The language of love. Love is the spirit of the UU principles. It's the spirit of this congregation. And a love of life and a love of spirit is what renews us. And now we are here. We are in this moment together. We be in this community together. Every day a new beginning. Before us extends a single garment of destiny, an inescapable network of mutuality. And like a mighty tapestry, woven of threads from our shared history. And today we weave one more chapter into that destiny. The weaving loom that lies within our souls binds many common threads into that tapestry of destiny and mutuality. And when we weave together, we make a mighty thread. Like a sacred tie that binds us all in covenant, we renew the spirit of life together, pagan and UU alike, sharing a common community of belonging. And together, we can all find some peace in our lives. And may all of you find peace within, without these walls, and with each other. And may we continue to strive together. Thank you.